I would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodial land of the Bundjalung people of the Akawala Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I recognize their ongoing connection to this land, sea and community, and I honor their cultural heritage and enduring spiritual relationship with this country. Kayla Cooper presenting a research proposal where I will explore how artificial intelligence is potentially influencing students' abilities to think critically. It will be focusing on both the opportunities and the challenges that AI presents in contemporary education. The key issue is whether AI is supporting deeper learning or encouraging a surface-level engagement that takes away from the students rather than encouraging students to think for themselves. This gap is an important literary question that needs to be filled in order to know whether to continue the use of AI within education. If this gap remains unfulfilled, we could be stripping generations of their ability to think cognitively, thus creating a ripple effect that could see the end of unique thoughts cascading into the loss of individuality and independent thinking. As a mother and emerging teacher myself, I want to know that what I'm doing is giving my students and children the best possible tools to succeed in today's increasingly AI-driven world, while utilizing their own unique, creative, and higher-order thinking skills to enact change, build mountains, and evolve to their best self. Ensuring that integrating AI tools in learning isn't having any negative effects on students' abilities to think critically and independently, not needing to rely on AI to think for them. AI isn't historically new. According to Pacone, AI can be tracked back to the 1960s when the first teaching machine was used. However, when AI released ChatGPT, it went viral within hours, and schools were unprepared for the major change, rejecting it immediately, only to later adopt it into their curriculum, realizing how it could benefit not only students' learning, but also support teachers in designing personalized lesson plans within a fraction of the time. By 2023, educators were divided. While some indulged in the idea of AI taking away from students' critical thinking, others found it useful to plan lessons and guide practice. Recent developments in research underscores this. According to an October 2025 article, The Conversation, educators are adopting AI-driven platforms to accompany their learning experiences. While the innovations of AI promise increased student engagement and workplace efficiency, there is ongoing debate about the long-term effects on students' higher-order thinking capabilities, arguing reliance on AI could lead to artificial learning and reducing the ability for critical analysis. This is outlined in the Australian curriculum, whereas others believe it can be supportive to students' learning when integrated effectively. Artificial intelligence is rapidly changing the way education systems are being perceived. AI is reshaping not only how students are learning, but how teachers are planning students' learning. There are so many AI tools such as chatbots, generative AI platforms, and automated learning systems that are being embedded into the curriculum and classroom planning. This is raising concerns about the future of our students and their cognitive development, and the impact that using AI will have on their ability to think critically. Critical thinking itself is a fundamental part of the Australian curriculum and encompasses higher order processing that involves analysis, reasoning, evaluating, and reflection. The Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authorities, otherwise known as ACARA, concluded that in 2010, critical thinking was to be taught in Australian schools, believing it was crucial for students' learning coming into the 21st century. These higher-order thinking skills run alongside creativity and imagination, something that is also being questioned, whether AI is dissolving these skills. Looking at the importance of current times lifelong learning skills, curriculum and training considerations for teachers in the workplace, and current AI trends in literature, along with AI dependency, the role in enabling students to leverage AI for critical thinking use. I have synthesized these current literatures, compiling current data to conclude that there is a gap in the long-term effects of AI use in education. However, Tara Wells wrote in Psychology Today that there has already been a decline in people's abilities to think critically in today's society. People are thinking of how to solve their immediate problems rather than thinking critically about how to solve the bigger long-term picture that can fix ongoing problems rather than band-aid the current situation. This statement highlights the importance that this research must take place immediately before it's too late. What are the benefits and limitations of AI tool use in cultivating critical thinking in an educational setting? How do different pedagogical approaches incorporating AI impact students' critical thinking abilities? What strategies can teachers implement to maximize AI's potential in supporting critical thinking? This research will be conducted within a qualitative interpretivist paradigm that will aim to explore and understand the way students and teachers lived perceptions and experiences of using AI within learning. The methodologies are primary phenomenology and narrative-based inquiries, focusing on capturing individual experiences through stories from participants on their use of AI tools within education. This research will be conducted in a secondary school setting. Participants will include between 20 and 30 students, along with 2 or 3 classroom teachers. Participants will be selected from classrooms that have already adopted AI tools into their learning activities. For future extensive research, multiple schools would undergo the same data collection to gather average data samples to then collate the information on a longer nationwide scale. Multiple methods will be used to ensure depth and accuracy, including student surveys that will be used to gather perceptions of AI use and its impact on thinking. Semi-structured interviews with both students and teachers, as well as classroom observations, to examine how AI is used in real-time practice. This will then be collected with samples of the students' work, with an analysis of the students' tasks involving the use of AI tools. Data will then be analyzed using theometric analysis, identifying patterns related to critical thinking behaviors, levels of cognitive engagement, and the use of AI as a support rather than as a dependency. This method will allow for a deep interpretation of the participants and their experiences with AI tools in academic learning tasks. Here is an example of research questions for the students. The key ethical considerations will consist of informed consent forms for students, parents, and teachers, confidentiality of all participants along with voluntary participation for all those who wish to be a part of the survey, and the ability to withdraw at any given time, ensuring that there will be no disruptions to work and learning. Additionally, some AI ethical concerns to consider that will be addressed is the awareness of bias in AI-generated content, academic misconduct, and reasonable use of AI tools. Approval will also be granted from the relevant educational authorities before the commencement of the study to ensure compliance and policies are being met. This research project aims to contribute to develop a deeper understanding of the effects of AI's influence on students' abilities to think critically and make informed decisions within contemporary education. As AI is becoming increasingly embedded into classrooms, it is essential for teachers to transcend using this technology and adopting into their classrooms and start critically thinking themselves about the impact AI is having on learning and evaluate the cost of adopting such a controversial learning extension based on limited to little knowledge on the effects. This study will help guide my practice as an emerging teacher by informing effective AI integration strategies, as well as enhance my ability to foster critical thinking amongst my students, while supporting ethical and pedagogical sound teaching practices that I can adopt into my classroom. In the end, this research seeks to ensure that AI tools are not being used to replace thinking, rather enhance and extend upon students' cognitive abilities.